Welcome to Spidell's California Minute. I'm your host, Catherine Zidane, and this week we're covering notices the FTB is sending to certain LLCs and corporations. This week is the listener drive for our Salvation Army fundraiser, where for each listen we will donate $1, and we're counting anyone who listens to this episode between now and the end of September. We're also donating $5 for each new podcast subscriber during the month of September, so feel free to forward this episode to a friend. Recently, we've had several subscribers contact us about their clients receiving notices and information from the FTB saying that they owe the $800 minimum franchise and annual tax, even though they qualify for an exemption. This seems to be happening in two different scenarios: information notices sent to LLCs that formed in 2021, and requests for returns for corporations and LLCs that formed within the last 15 days of a tax year. Legislation enacted last year exempts LLCs from paying the $800 annual tax during their first year if they organize or register with the California Secretary of State's office during 2021 through 2023. Prior to 2021, the first-year exemption was only available to corporations. Unfortunately, the FTB is automatically sending a Form FTB 5954, Requirements for Limited Liability Companies, to LLCs that organized or registered with the Secretary of State during 2021. The notice states that it's not a tax bill, but it describes tax fee and filing requirements for LLCs. The notice says that all LLCs doing business in California or organized or registered with the Secretary of State are required to pay an $800 annual tax to the FTB, and the notice makes no reference to the first-year exemption. Many of our clients are receiving this information from the FTB and feel they have to pay the $800 for the first year. We've raised this issue with the FTB, and they said they'll modify the notice. In the meantime, you might get calls from your clients questioning your advice that they're exempt for the first year. Also, make sure that your clients who organized during 2021 didn't send a check after they received this notice from the FTB. If they did, they should file a refund claim. California law also exempts corporations and LLCs from filing a return and paying the $800 minimum franchise and annual tax if they did no business in California during the taxable year, and the taxable year was 15 days or less. A corporation or LLC that forms during the last 15 days of the year in preparation to begin operations in the following year is not required to file a return or pay the $800 tax. The FTB is taking the position that if an entity forms in those last 15 days, it may be doing business during that time period, and the entity has to affirmatively state and verify that it was not actually doing business. The FTB is sending notices to all new corporations and LLCs that did not file a return, even if they organized and registered in the last 15 days of the year. Entities are generally given 30 days to respond to these notices. But because of recent mail processing delays at the FTB, they've stated that they'll delay mailing any requests for past due returns for the next 60 days. The question is, what constitutes doing business during these 15 days? The FTB simply stated that it's a, quote, fact-intensive inquiry requiring the consideration of the totality of the circumstances, end quote. Does opening a bank account or registering a website domain constitute doing business? They've declined to answer that question. So we recommend that your clients who form during the last 15 days of the year wait until the beginning of the following year to begin any business operations. That way they'll be able to maximize the benefits of both the 15-day rule and the first-year free rule. Sign up for Spidell's Federal and California Tax Update webinar and get an update on all the tax changes from the past year, plus this year's webinar attendees will get a printed manual. For a full list of dates and topics, visit caltax.com. That's all for this week. Join us next time for another episode of Spidell's California Minute.